Arsenal 1, Brighton 2. Let's get into it. Yeah, not a good day at the office again. Another loss. Second on the bounce. Thoughts, James?
Shambolic, to be honest. I don't know. I was in the WhatsApp group. I was a bit annoyed and a bit reactionary, so I'm gonna try and keep it calm on here. But no, man, it's unacceptable. Like, I know Brighton are a good team, but the way their form has been, the way they've been playing, like, this is a team we needed to beat. We needed the 3 points, and it was in our hands to do it, especially at the Emirates as well. I know we struggled against them when we played them away in the first leg. But again, it's not really an excuse. And I'm looking a lot at Arteta for this, just because of his starting 11, the structure that we played with, and the overall, just how we were as a squad. Like, it was questionable. And I don't want there to be a pattern repeating itself here. Like late last season when Tierney got injured, Xhaka was at left back, and then you know how performances went, right?
Yep.
They didn't go well at the latter half of the season, and I don't want it to happen again. So my eyes are firmly fixed on Arteta, and yes, the players didn't perform well, but I'm looking at Arteta for this. I don't know if you agree or what your thoughts are. That's where my head's at.
Look, you saw I made a post the other day for my TikTok and I shared it with the group. I spoke last week about reverting to a 5 and how a 5 didn't necessarily mean that we would have to be defensive in our shape or our setup, but how it would offer us security. The alternative that I offered was a back 4 with Tavares at left back. So I was expecting one of those two outcomes. Like, look, Tavares had a bad game last week. Yeah, like against Palace. Let's not make any mistake about that. But he got asked at very short notice to step in against a very difficult Palace. In my opinion, we're better off letting him play his way into form than we are taking Xhaka out from a midfield that's already missing Partey, playing Sambi, Odegaard, and Smith Rowe in a 4-3-3. Now, the reason I say that is you look at Brighton, you look at the midfielders they've got, Bissouma, the Salcedo guy, they've got physically imposing and experienced midfielders. You can't take Xhaka out of that midfield. You can't look at that game and think this is a game where we can take Xhaka out of midfield and play him at left back. And the first goal did come from what? A nothing ball over the top. Where Xhaka should have been, he wasn't.
Yeah.
An easy cutback to Trossard. Our first goal.
Yeah.
You know, so you can correlate all of these things together to the team selection in my eyes. Yeah. Am I going to sit here and start getting Arteta out, banners out? Of course I'm not. Look, you have to mitigate that he is having to deal with these injuries. But in that moment, he didn't make the right decision. That is partially what cost us. I think the performance of the players on the pitch, regardless, not just Xhaka, again, everyone, was poor. I'm not sparing any single one player. I'm not singling any one player out. There wasn't really lapses in defence. Like maybe it was a bit more overt with the goals that we conceded against Palace. But I don't feel that was the case against Brighton. I don't think there was gaping errors in the defensive shape or decisions that were made in those moments to defend against those situations. So collectively, everyone has to take responsibility. The players, Arteta, just everyone. Just a terrible performance all round.
Yeah.
And to couple that, Spurs have gone ahead against Villa. Son's got a very early goal. Having played a game more, they will be 3 points ahead of us, having scored 7 extra goals.
Yeah.
So, with United losing, it's an opportunity lost to create some headway against them. And look, they're not out of this race either. If they can string together a few wins. So, look, it's just deflating.
Yeah, no, it is. It's just more about the. I come on here and I was so confident in what we were doing, and I'm not even going to blame injuries for this loss, to be honest, because let's be real, we should be beating Brighton. And again, I don't mean any disrespect to Brighton, but we have the team to be beating Brighton, and quite comfortably, I think. And it's not like we don't have the depth for the players that we lost. Sambi can slip in and do what Partey does, maybe not to the same level, but he can go there. Or we go back to a double pivot and make it a bit more comfortable with him, because then we got 2 sitting. And I get that Nuno hasn't played well, but as you said, there is alternatives around this to get him into the team and playing well. Like I even said we could play, and I know not a lot of people agreed with it, but we can even play Ben White as a right back to sit and let Nuno progress. I still think that's better than having Xhaka as a left back. And it's not something I would avidly do. I just think we can sort something out within our team that actually allows us to play and beat the teams that we should be beating. Because let's be real, Palace have taken, 4 points of us? Same as Brighton this season. And I know we're giving Arteta credit for beating the teams that we should be beating. But again, these are 2 games that were winnable. And it's now changed the complete dynamic of how me, you, the Army TV, even Arsenal fans in general are looking at where we're at this part of the season. A week ago, we were talking about top 4, it's in our hands, like it's ours to lose, yada, 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 to now questioning if we're even going to get top 6. Because again, I'm not trying to be pessimistic. And I know maybe that's a bit outrageous to say we're not going to get out top 6, but our fixtures aren't easy now. Brighton and especially Palace as well were games that we needed to even get points from, and we didn't. And now we've got 8 games left.
Southampton away, Chelsea away, United at home, West Ham away are our next 4 games.
Yeah.
I feel that we needed to take at least 6 points from Palace, Brighton, and Southampton.
Yeah.
The maximum we can take now is 3.
Yeah.
We can take some solace in seeing obviously Chelsea put 6 the last time I checked away against Southampton. But look, the way we're performing at the moment, I don't think we can expect to just turn up and do the same thing against them. That's away from home, right? Or is that at home?
Which team?
Southampton.
It's away. Yeah, difficult game.
So look, it's going to, make no mistake, it's going to be a difficult game. We're looking short of goals at the moment. We're conceding again. Look, Partey and Tierney are massive misses. Massive misses to this team. But at the end of the day, I still don't think it's over in terms of like what we're doing. Tottenham do have to play Liverpool. They do have to play us. They do have to play Leicester, who are looking a little bit resurgent. And their game's not over against Villa. So who knows, man? It's all to play for still.
Yeah, it is. It is, but not if we're playing like we are. Like, let's be real. I don't know what's going on.
Like we need to improve massively. Like we do have to look at the injuries without that being an excuse. It is a reality. We're not a team, you know, we're not a team that the midfield, the center of midfield is where we were shortest.
Yeah, but we have the personnel to be better. Like, I know a lot of the Armory TV people don't rate Xhaka, right? But to me, aside out of Partey, he's a good midfielder, right?
Yeah.
For me, he dictates the play and he's defensively sound, which I see ESR long-term position being a central midfielder, right? A box-to-box 8, that's fine, or a left mid, wherever you want to play him at 10. He's versatile. But you've seen when he's next to Odegaard how defensively frail we are. And then now the fact that we've taken out Thomas Partey, you've put in a similar player to him in Sambi, but who hasn't been in the team, isn't as experienced as Partey, and doesn't have that leadership. I think that's, as you said, that's where we lost the battle today. And you could see it happening. And I don't understand, like, as soon as Xhaka was in the midfield, we were so much better. We had so much control and we were dictating for large portions of the second half. And that's why I can't excuse today's result. Yes, we played poor, but if the setup was right, I honestly think we would comfortably win that, but the setup wasn't right. No. So it's just, it's one of those. And it comes down to, there's going to be a lot more turmoil now. It was nice to see the fans somewhat united, and I felt like they were united, backing the team, backing Arteta, yada, 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 because we looked like we were doing well, right? And I'm just worried that previous history is going to repeat itself where we bowled top 4. And again, I was always of the mindset beginning of the season, top 4 was never in our remit. It was never our ambition. It was never our goal. We were looking to get back into Europe via Europa League, right? I felt that was the level of our team. Yeah. But I can't excuse the fact that teams are underperforming. So now we have a chance to get into top 4, and not being able to capitalize on that is the most frustrating thing, because we've experienced this a few seasons now.
That's the tough part. And look, what I want to, like, obviously what I said in January, when we didn't sign any players, when I basically staked my reputation on us at least getting a midfielder and a striker, even if it was on loan. At the time, I said, I'll wait until this time to judge that call. I think we have to talk about it now. Yeah. We have to talk about it, you know, like, I think we were still short in midfield, and we definitely look very toothless in attack. You know, Lacazette, for all the work that he's done in leading and getting more out of the players around him, I think what you've seen is our first team 11, there isn't plan Bs in it at the moment. You know, like, if Partey gets injured, you know, we don't have answers. If Tierney gets injured, fair enough. We had Tavares, but we're not trusting him as an answer now. You know, like, and if Lacazette isn't scoring, we don't have an answer. We know.
Yeah, I think the striker issue was more of a concern than the midfield option. And I get that we're light in midfield, but I still feel like we have the depth in midfield. Like, if you're not totally sure on the balance of the team, we still have Elneny. We still have players that can play there. Just play Xhaka in midfield, and I don't get it. Like, I get maybe Arteta was trying to outsmart Graham Potter. Maybe it was a tactical thing, but I don't understand how you can just all of a sudden, after one loss, completely flip everything to change the way we were doing. Because yes, we got you can say battered by Crystal Palace, right? 3-0. I just felt like 3-0 was a flattering scoreline because they didn't have that many clear-cut chances. One of it was a pen, and maybe I'm creating excuses here, right? But it's the same with the Brighton game. Like, lapses on the left back where Xhaka should have been, but doesn't play left back. So of course that's where the hole was. And then just not clearing our lines for the second goal we conceded, right? And that's why I'm putting the most of the blame on Arteta, is because I don't understand why we need to completely shift the way we've been playing, because this performance goes back to the beginning of this season where me and you were discussing, like, what's going on. This isn't the team. This isn't the way we should be forming, right? We have a good enough squad to be improving. And this performance reminded me of that.
I still am looking back at January now, and look, I'm watching Tottenham now, and ultimately they made 2 signings, not at a massive expense. Now these were Kulusevski is on an 18-month loan option. They can buy him for 25 million at the end of the season, or they can wait until the end of the 18-month term and pay more for him. Bentancur, similar sort of story, I believe.
They signed him on a permanent.
Bentancur, they signed permanently, yeah?
Yeah, for like 10 million.
So what I'm trying to say is there were options out there, even to do loan options to bolster the squad. Like, you put yourself in that position in January that we were in. As I said, I wasn't downplaying not signing players. I was saying, we do have a good squad, a good enough squad to get top 4. But should there be any injuries to key personnel, we're not going to be in a good position. Now, looking at Partey's record since he's been at Arsenal, it's not a good injury record. No. Looking at Xhaka's disciplinary record, it's not a good record. Looking at Lacazette's goal-scoring record, it's not a good record.
Yeah,
I feel that we had to at least address one of those 2. Yeah, I'm not saying both.
Yeah,
but at least I think Lacazette's performances, you can kind of hinge to a change of dynamic in midfield. When everything changes behind you, it's difficult to maintain the continuity in your forward line, So, but Lacazette not scoring, at least if we were short in midfield, but we had a more clinical striker, or a striker more capable of creating something out of nothing, maybe that carries that gap in midfield a bit. To not address either.
Yeah. We could have got Arthur.
The talk is that the board rejected that move because they didn't want to risk him being on our wage bill for an 18-month term if it didn't work out. So, yeah, man. At the end of the day, this Martinelli starting up top thing, fair enough, but up front on his own.
Yeah. I'd even start Nketiah over him, to be honest, over Laka, to be honest. And I said this in the in a show we did earlier this week. I don't think that Lacazette offers enough. Like, yes, I get he was hot on assists, and yes, he was linking up the play, but when he's not there doing what he has been doing in terms of link-up play, there's nothing. It's the same with Aubameyang. The impact of the game, if he's not scoring goals, he's not impacting the team. Lacazette, I saw a stat somebody put out, right? He's had 4 shots on goal in 1,000 minutes of play. Open shots. So open play shots. 4 in 1,000 minutes. That's 11 games. Right? That's not good enough. You're wondering why we're not. We were lucky to score today. And I know we were unlucky with the crossbar free kick and the Eddie hitting the bar, right? But for me, like in Eddie Nketiah's cameos, and don't get me wrong, I want him to go in the summer and I wish him the best. He's not the level we need. But what we have right now, the cameos I have seen from him have been more promising what I have seen in 90 minutes that Lacazette has been getting. And that's my head. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to slander Lacazette. We need to figure something out, right? And that's why I'm hot on the why is Xhaka playing at left back. I get it if we're in possession and Xhaka's playing at left back to dictate the play because we can play a high line and he's pretty much going to be where he is if he was playing in central midfield, right? But why are we playing him at left back when we're out of position? I don't like that structure, and I don't mind. This is again one of the things I said. If we play in Tavares and we want Tavares to be more of a left midfielder, Xhaka can cover left back / left centre mid.
Which is exactly why I said go to this 5 shape, man.
Yeah,
it's exactly why I've said it. Look, at the moment, we need to do it. I'm going to keep saying this. Yeah, I'm going to keep saying this. Like, you look at the games you've got coming up, the difficult nature of them. Right, we need to organize ourselves at the back again. Like, for me, You know, Chelsea won 6-0 today. I'll be intrigued to see if they use the back five. I'm tired of hearing it. I'm fucking tired of hearing it. I'm sorry, man. Like, starting formations do not dictate how offensive or defensive you are. What the instructions that you give the individuals and the instructions that you give the team in that shape, that is what determines how offensive or defensive a team is. A back five of Burnley is not a back five of Chelsea.
No,
it's not
for sure. Well, it's how they use Reece James and Chilwell.
Precisely. You know, like, this is what we need to start understanding. Yeah, like, for me, Xhaka needs to be in midfield. So does Sambi. Yeah, because you need some presence in the center of the park, right?
You do.
So
or even not Sambi, El Neni, somebody that's going to be there and that's defensively sound, because that midfield three today. And look, don't get me wrong, I like Sambi, but I like Partey. Partey isn't an out-and-out DM. Like, he plays 6 because he's good at recycling the play and getting the ball, making interceptions, and yada yada. Right? It's the same with Sambi. He's not like a Fabinho or whoever, a Rodri, right? That is just so solid defensively and has a presence there that they're going to win everything. The way he uses Partey is different. It's a 6/8 hybrid that he recovers the ball and we go again. Progresses the ball quick. That's his role, right? And Xhaka enables him to do that because he is defensively solid, right? And not having a presence, even El Neni, for example, if we had El Neni, Sambi, Odegaard, I don't agree with it, but it gives us somebody that's defensively sound in midfield. And our midfield was flaky. They had Basuma there, we know how good he is, right? And that's where it was lost. And I mean, I don't know. I want to pull this comment up. For us blaming Laka, actually, but who isn't creating, right? We're creating chances, and when we create the chances, he's not in the position he's needed to be as a striker to capitalize. And that's why, again, we can point holes, and we'll go back and forth with this, but it's just systematic things that could have been avoided today. They easily could have been avoided today.
Can I just go to this comment quickly? Yeah. Sambi wasn't a lone DM, so it was a 4-3-3. He was a 6 with 2 8s. There was no 10. So it wasn't a 4-2-3-1. So it wasn't an arrogant choice, like, in terms of shape. You had 3 people that are deeper in the midfield than you would in a 4-2-3-1, where you would have one man that is further forward, shackled of defensive responsibility. I mean, unshackled, of defensive responsibility. So, yeah, wasteman comment. Sorry, man. Don't agree with it. But ultimately, I think the shape, if you're going to change the shape to a 4-3-3, it had to involve Tavares at left back. It just had to, for me, man.
Yeah, or even Cedric at left back. That's to the point where I would have taken as Cedric can do a shift at left back, right? But to not play a full out left back against a team that we know are good in possession and can string plays. We saw it today. We saw it for the first goal, how they literally, that pocket there was free. Centre back clips a lot. It was a really good ball as well from the centre back. Passes it over, our whole team pretty much cut back goal. I don't know if it's arrogance or whatever it is. I don't think it's arrogance. It's just I wish he would learn from this, because we've seen it last season where Xhaka was a left back, and I don't know. I'm just hoping that we can actually fix our mistakes, because Southampton is a must win. A must win. If we don't get points at Southampton, then it's going to be incredibly difficult to get top 4. And I still think top 4 is a possibility. I'm not going to get over pessimistic with it, because again, we have to play Spurs, and it's not looking great right now. But just as easily as we're in poor form now, we can get an upturn, and Spurs can get a downturn. It doesn't look likely, but it is possible.
Spurs have gone ahead, but I've been watching in my periphery, and Villa are creating chances. Like, they're creating more chances than Spurs at the moment. So I wouldn't rule this game out as a foregone conclusion. James, I want to address this comment with you. Right?
Yeah.
I keep hearing this from rivals. and my own fans. This kind of stance. I want to get your take on it. Like for me, it's nonsense. I'm going to maintain it. Like you can't forget the form prior to 2 major injuries, and it wouldn't have been Arteta's decision alone to not sign players. He came up with a solution with Edu and said, I want to get Artemello from Juventus. The board rejected that move. Right? So they have given him constraints to work with in January. And when we were in a great opportunity to see out the job, you have to put some responsibility on the board for not being ambitious enough to give him a bit more to work with, because Tottenham have looked dead and buried. These 2 signings they've made in January have reinvigorated them. Look at Barcelona this season. They look dead and buried. They changed their manager, but they got a few new players in January. They're 3rd in the league now with a game in hand. Yeah, like you look at all the teams that did get 1 or 2 players, not just in England, but across Europe this season, and what they've been doing since in January. You go back to last season with Willock going to to Newcastle. You know, like I think it's collective. I think it's Arteta's still doing the right job, but he's still not working with good enough tools. And this notion that we sack him and all of our problems go away, I'm tired of hearing it.
Yeah, no, I don't agree. I don't agree on that. If it's top 4, we should sack him. And again, people can have that stance because they've grown up with the standards of what we've achieved prior, and that's fine. I'm not gonna say that it's a wrong opinion. I just think that my stance on Arteta is the fact that we are progressing, even if it is sporadic, and it is frustrating at times, because I'm not going to lie, I'm annoyed that we lost to Brighton right now, and as every Arsenal fan should be, that it wasn't good enough, and for me, Arteta was to blame. I've said this throughout the show, but to sacrifice what we are trying to build for not achieving top 4, and I'll go back to it's a disappointment to not achieve top 4 based on the position we found ourselves due to our performances and other teams not performing to the level. But I think it's a bit insane.
Spread out.
Yeah, no, I
you know, like Arteta as well. It's a collective responsibility.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I'm not
get away from this blame culture, Or
no, I understand that, and I'm not
pinpointing in one area. It's collectively across those areas, you know.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I'm not putting the blame solely on Arteta today, but a lot of it, my main focus is on Arteta, right?
Yeah,
and that's
in terms of today, In terms of today, I'm making a general point of, if we were like going back to that comment, if we were to miss out on top 4 now, I don't think you could just put that.
You can't solely blame Arteta. No, and let's be real, right? This where we're at. We're the youngest manager in the league, I think, and the youngest team in the league, right? There is going to be bumps in the road, and yes, i.e. last week and this week, bumps in the road, and they are really annoying, right? It is what it is. Every team has it, right? But it's not the right mindset, I think, to get rid of something when there is clear progress. When the team is performing well, we play nice football. When the team is performing well, you can see the relationship the team has with the fans, and you can see how much the fans are actually enjoying Arsenal Football Club. Because there was a substantial period of time when I had no relationship with Emery. I had no relationship with that team. I had no love for the club at points. Like, it was to the point where I'm just like, I can't be bothered. I don't even want to watch games, right? And now where we find ourselves in a position where again, like times right now, people are going to be annoyed and mad, and I get that. But we could easily win against Southampton and then pick up points over the next 3 fixtures, and it would be back like it was before the Palace game. We were all high and we wanted Arsenal Football Club to come back because we missed them over international break, because we did. And if we're saying an unbiased opinion, we all miss watching Arsenal play. And I think that's the merit of if this team is progressing or not, is the fact of there was times where I didn't care if we had international break. I didn't miss Arsenal if we were playing. I didn't miss Arsenal, right? And that's the merit. We are progressing on all fronts, off the pitch, on the pitch, whatever it is, from where we have been, right? There is more to do. We need to be winning silverware. We need to be competing for titles like we were once again, right? But we can't do it overnight. And I hate that it's black and white and it's all binary and people that take it without context as, oh, we need to sack a manager because he's not doing great this game. We need to sack a manager because this person's is a better manager playing there with their current team and players, right? Football doesn't work like that. And you need to take context into everything. And I think the context of sacking Arteta at top 4 would be a detriment right now to the club. Next season, for example, if we've had a complete overhaul and we've spent another 150 million, we still have the youngest team and we have hungry players and everything, then we can maybe discuss it. But like you've seen with United, how sporadic their team is. 4 manager players within one team. And look how it's working, right? So I don't agree. I think top 6 is still valid for him to be here next season.
We need to remind ourselves that that's what we said at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
That was the realistic achievement that we set ourselves. Mm-hmm. Get back into the Europa League or get back into Europe at any cost. Like that's what we said this season was about, and then building a platform to be able to push for more than that in the following season.
Yeah.
Yes, you know your expectations do change. Like if the teams around you aren't performing, which they have been, and they give you opportunities to perhaps be able to capitalize on something more than that. Mm. But you know, we are taking a slower and steadier road.
Yeah.
No one can look at this team, and say that overall we haven't improved from last season. Because we have.
No, we have.
And the first one that is piping up in the comments thread, just remember whose manager's been sacked this season, buddy. Because it's not mine. Yeah? You're going to tell me about the Nuno tax that happened at Emirates Stadium, yeah? Oh, wait, it was Nuno. It didn't happen. Humble yourself. Not in the mood.
I again, with this comment, Big Dogs, I'm with you on this. If it's anything less than 6, then I agree. Because that's the remit of what our initial goal this season was, to get Europe, and I'm not including the Conference League because, in my opinion, that's not Europe, right? So I can understand that, but the top 4 thing is a bit maybe that's your viewpoint, and that's fine because you hold Arsenal to very high standard. That's fine, right? But I'm trying to be more realistic, and you're one of these people that we can have a discussion with, and you can understand the idea of top 6, right? But
I guarantee Big Dog standards are no different from mine.
No, I get that. I get that.
5 league titles. My first league title, age 6. The one at Old Trafford, the invincible one. 9 FA Cups.
No, for sure. But again, there's
any charity shields.
There's a difference.
So I've seen us win the European trophy.
No, I get that. I've seen
the whole of our best era, buddy. And but I know that in terms of standards, you've got to be realistic about how you get back to where.
Yeah, and that's the difference in having the patience and the real. I don't want to use the word realism because some people have different viewpoints of the direction Arsenal are going. I guess realism in our eyes that we are progressing, and that's how we're viewing the club, right? But maybe in his eyes, he's not agreeing with that. And I can understand that he wants the best for the club because at the end of the day, top 4 is where me and you want to be. That's where we want to be. We want to be in Champions League. But I think it's a bit not naive in the thinking, and maybe he could say we're naive as well. But I think contextually for Arteta deserves to be here next season. That's my mindset. Even if we don't extend his contract and he is here next season and then we move on, I think that's the best move for the club, unless he finishes 7th, which I don't think we will. But yeah, that's where we're at. And I think we're not getting too off topic because again we're reacting to the Brighton game, and again, and this is what I was worried about when I said we could spiral out of control and we could be having debates of sack Arteta. Is the club big enough, etc., etc. So, but you know, that's where I'm at.
Yeah,
And I think we need to take in mind. Yeah,
I think like
but
I just want to address the comment. Yeah, when at the end of the day, it's about not hard to improve from 8th, which on the surface seems true, right? But I've countered with this comment, and I'm going to put it up and read it out. It's definitely hard to improve when you have had a squad that we had when you had the squad that we had last season and holes in 7 first-team positions. I'm going to go through those positions: right back, cover at left back, centre midfielder, attacking midfielder, cover a goalkeeper, and a striker. We didn't even get the striker. And on top of that, you've got no depth on your bench as well. So what are you going to do? Go at 10, 11 players in one window? 3 or 4 to give you the depth on your bench and 7 to go in the first team? Doesn't happen. So it's still going to be hard to improve because you're going into a season knowing that you haven't finished the job and you're going to have to rely on there being certain deficiencies in certain areas. And that's the reality. You look at Man United, they bought 3 players knowing they also needed a centre midfielder. And then look at the size of them. Look at the revenue they generate. They couldn't go at everything in one window. So yeah, no.
Yeah, I don't know. That's all I have to say about the whole Brighton review. It's just on to the next one, I guess. We're all annoyed. It's just one of those. Unless you have anything to add, I think that's where we're going for like 40 minutes on a review. So.
Yeah, I think we're going to call this one a wrap. Thank you everyone for tuning in today and the comments, all of them. Guys, obviously, if you haven't already, hit the like button to obviously help the channel be able to grow. Subscribe if you haven't already. We're trying to obviously get those numbers up to 1,000 as quickly as possible. It's been great to have you guys all on. If you're watching and you're one of my TikTok followers, I'm going to go back to my live now and finish my watch along for the Spurs game. And look, tough day at the office today. Bitter pill to swallow, but we go again. Peace out.